Hi everybody. So today we are going to cook beef lo mein. The girls have had pork lo mein, they've had house lo mein. So I decided to do a beef lo mein so I could show you how to cook it and serve it to them. So let's get to the ingredients. Alright, so we've got our broccoli. This is a whole head of broccoli. I just cut the broccoli florets off of it. We've got an orange and a red pepper. I use small ones because I don't want it to be over, peppered, bell peppers. We've got 6 mushrooms, just the white mushrooms. I've got some carrot sticks. They're just the baby carrots that I just cut into sticks. I've got 4 cloves of garlic, 1 Vidalia onion, a little over a pound of beef, bean sprouts, our lo mein noodles that have been cooked. Over here we have, let's see, that's 1 teaspoon of sesame oil right here. We've got a 1/4 cup of water right there. It's boiling right now. This is a tablespoon of the Better Than Beef bouillon paste. We've got 3 tablespoons of, I believe that's the soy sauce. And we've got 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So we've got our pan heated up with some sesame oil already in it. So let's get to cooking. Okay, into our boiling water, 1/4 cup of boiling water, we're going to add our Better Than bouillon. We're going to stir that up really nice to make sure that it's fully incorporated into the water. Now don't forget our pan is still on medium heat, heating up the sauce, or the sesame oil. Right now we're going to dump our brown sugar. It was 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. That should dissolve rather quickly. And then we're going to pour our 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Like I said, I use the lower sodium. You can also use coconut aminos. And stir that until it's fully incorporated. Now we're going to set this aside and we're going to go over and brown our meat. Okay, so I'm just going to dump the meat in there. This is definitely, I can see little bubbles in the oil, so I know that it's warm. My husband likes to flick water onto it so that he knows. But we're just going to dump this in there. We're just going to let all the sides get nice and brown so that it's fully cooked. Now, I ended up getting beef round. It was cubed. It was already cubed at the butcher. It was more affordable to buy that than any of the other beef. So that's what I bought, and I decided that I would try velveting. Velveting is something that a lot of like Chinese food, American Chinese food, they do that to their meat so that it comes out more tender. So basically you take baking soda, a mixture of baking soda and water. I'll put that little recipe in the description. But you massage the meat in the baking soda and water combination so that it softens it somehow. It changes the pH. I think that's what I read. It changes the pH of the beef so that it becomes a little more softer and not so tough. So that's how you get those tender pieces of beef from those, you know, the Chinese food restaurants around here. So I did that. Now you want to make sure that you rinse the meat off after velveting. I left mine overnight. I wasn't planning on leaving it overnight, but things got a little hectic as life happens sometimes. So I was not able to cook this, you know, 15 minutes after I began the velveting process. So I just left it overnight. Sometimes the beef can get really mushy if you leave it for too long in the velveting solution. Thankfully mine came out okay. But you want to make sure you've rinsed all the baking soda off before cooking it, because if you don't, it gets kind of a metallic taste from what I've read. Like I said, this is the first time I've tried it, so we'll see. Normally I do a pork lo mein. The pork tends to cook a little bit faster, so I may end up speeding this up. And come back once it's already finished cooking. I did leave some of these pieces a little bit thicker, but see how easy it is for me? This is just a wooden spoon, and I just cut right through that piece of beef because it's so much more tender. You do want to make sure that all your pieces are cooked through for this recipe. Now the kids are still napping, and I'm running late, but hopefully I'll get enough time to finish this. Usually they actually need help waking up from their naps, so. Dad is home today, so he can also go and hang out with them until this is all finished. I'm going to give it a few more minutes, and then we're going to take this out of the pan. I'm going to put it just in a little Tupperware to, you know, keep it aside so we can cook all of the vegetables. So I'll go put this in a pan and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. The beef is in its own little thing. We're going to use that teaspoon of sesame oil. Now you can throw a little bit more in there if you want. It's for sauteing the onions. You can also use olive oil instead of sesame oil if you prefer. I'm just going to let that get a little bit. I might actually throw a splash of olive oil in there with the sesame oil, just because it's a very big pan. Let that get all nice and warm. And we'll throw our onions in there. So this is the same pan. I did not clean it out, so that's just the brown beef browning at the bottom of it. We're just going to put the onions in there. Now you can, if you want to, you can dice the onions instead of just leaving them in slivers. Anastasia loves onions, so I like to give her nice hunks of onion. Guinevere is okay with onions, but sometimes she doesn't like them. So bigger chunks of onions help her pick the onions out so she doesn't have to eat them. Get them all nice and coated in the oil. We'll just let them simmer. So I'll probably speed this up as well. I was going to also put the baby corn in, mixed in with the lo mein. But after the other video from a couple of days ago, them just refusing to eat anything but the corn. I decided to leave, oh, excuse me, I decided to leave it out of this recipe. So you can throw in water chestnuts if you want to. I did buy a can, but I'm running out of time, so we're not going to cook them. They take a little longer to cook. They're a little harder to eat too. So we're gonna leave the water chestnuts out. We're just gonna keep it fresh vegetables. You really can pick and choose whatever vegetables you want. I forgot that I had turned my stove off. I was wondering why it was no longer sizzling. So I hope everybody's summer is going well. It finally, the thermostat broke, I feel like, today. Maybe it was yesterday. But it was 96 degrees outside the other day. Whew. And, you know, I feel so bad for the girls because they really want to go outside, but it was just ungodly. We couldn't stay outside for too long. And then they didn't want to come inside, so I thought it would be just better just to play inside, just, you know. It's not even the heat that's really that bad, it's the humidity. You know, there were all kinds of warnings and everything, but the air is just, it's so thick. As soon as you walk outside, you're completely dripping in sweat. So I hope everybody's being safe this summer, wherever you are, staying hydrated. Don't stay out for too long. I know one year I think it was the first summer I had the barber shop, and the pavers that I had at the back door, which was the main door everybody used because that's where the parking lot was, the pavers out back were not even. So I decided to even them out and put new pavers in. Now I rented the building that my barbershop was in, but I owned the barbershop itself, the name. So, you know, I did all this, you know, just because I wanted it to look nice. It was not my property, but I decided to fix it up. So I was out there digging these holes to put in the pavers, and it probably took me 3 hours because I had picked the hottest day on record that summer, and I think it had gotten up to 98 degrees, but with the humidity and the heat index, it felt like 120. And I literally every 15 minutes had to go inside because I started seeing spots. I had to go inside, rehydrate, sit down, cool off, and then get back to it. Oh, it was brutal that summer. That's almost what it feels like today. All right, so now that they're nice and soft, I'm going to put these aside in a Tupperware, and we'll be back to cook the other vegetables. Okay, so this time I'm going to put just olive oil in our pan. Now we're going to cook the carrots first because they take a little bit longer than everything else to soften. So let that get warm. We'll throw our carrots in there. Now I did them as thinly as I could. I probably should get a mandolin. The last time I used a mandolin, I actually sliced a knuckle off. So I'm a little terrified of mandolins, I'm not gonna lie. And I feel like I'm better with a knife. I guess you could use a cheese grater and try to grate it, but then I feel like it gets a little too thin. I probably could just buy pre-cut matchstick carrots. However, I feel like these are more cost effective and affordable. Just buying the whole carrots and cutting them down to the size that I need. I try to do it as evenly as possible. Once they start feeling like they're getting soft, which is going to take a little while, we're going to add the other vegetables just to this. We're not going to keep separating everything. That would make even more dishes to clean than we already need. I know some people complain about our background noises of our house, whether it be the dishwasher or the washer machine or Beano's nails, which even when they're freshly trimmed, they still click. And now today, we still can't find where. I'm wondering if it's a smoke detector that we maybe put in a box. So when the girls were born, right before they were born, we went out and we got new smoke detectors that had like 10-year warranties on them, or they were supposed to have a 10-year life. And we took all of our other smoke detectors down. So these ones, you don't change the batteries. You just leave them up for 10 years and then you buy new ones, or you trade them in for new ones. But there is beeping. There was a smoke detector beeping somewhere in our house. We've been on the hunt for it. I don't know if it's in a box somewhere, because it's not super loud. It's loud enough that I can hear it, but it's not so loud that it's, waking me up at night or anything. And I can't figure out where it is. And, you have to wait for it to beep. It's not a constant beep. It's just, every minute or so, it beeps again. So here we are walking around the house like, oh, I think it's over here. Oh no, maybe it's over here. So we do have some boxes that, some things that, we boxed up before we renovated the living room, which slowly but surely we're getting there. We do have shelves up. But, so there's boxes up, and maybe we stuck that smoke detector in a box somewhere. And that's in a closet, so we have to go through those boxes. Maybe try to find them. Maybe we'll find it. All right, so these are getting pretty tender, so I'm going to add the broccoli and the peppers and everything else to it, because they don't take quite as long. Now I like having a pan with sides that are, pretty deep, just for dishes like this. So that I can add a whole bunch of veggies and stuff and not worry about it spilling over the side of, a regular frying pan. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil. I'm just going to do a nice little swoop. I'm just going to let everything get nice and soft in there. Oh, the children may be coming down soon. I'm not sure if that just went up or if they're just coming down. I did hear the door open for a second. But we could have run out of pull-ups in their bedroom. We don't have very much storage space in their bedroom, so we have a little, it was actually from my grandmother, Gigi, from my nan, her house. We have a little cabinet outside of their room that sits in the hallway with all of their shampoos and towels and some wipes and pull-ups. Soon we won't need the wipes because we are potty training them. They're learning to tell us when they have to go. Sometimes it's later It's a little too late, but they're learning. They're getting good. And, you know, a lot of people wait until their kids are 3. So our kids, you know, they're not quite 2.5. And they're already learning, which is good. So now the recipe that I'm following says to cook your veggies for 3 minutes. Cook them until they feel like they're soft enough for you. You can kind of smell the mushrooms when they're cooking. The peppers you definitely smell. So you can kind of smell when it's close to being done, you know, sautéing. You can see how bright green the broccoli is getting. Let's try to cut that piece. That was a very large piece of broccoli. Now, the reason I leave a lot of their foods kind of big bites is because it's a lot to cut up children's food. So if we are out somewhere, you ask for, you know, a child's plate of whatever with broccoli, they're not going to cut the broccoli in tiny little pieces. And by the time you get done cutting 2 children's plates, your food is cold. So if they can learn to just eat adult size, which is very safe for them to have right now, that'll be easier for you. There is a method behind the madness. Some of these pieces are a little bit too big. I've cut it pretty quickly. I just may not serve them that. So once the veggies are nice and soft, I do hear them now. They're probably coming down very soon. Once the veggies go really soft, we're going to add the garlic to it. I know most recipes call for the garlic to be added with the onions, but this recipe calls for it to be added after all the other veggies have cooked. I'm just going to let that go for another minute or so. Alright, so we're going to add our onions back into it. And I'm also going to add the bean sprouts now. I did make sure you rinse your bean sprouts. I did rinse these. I love bean sprouts. Let's stir that all nice and well. Alright, once that's all mixed up, we're going to add our beef again. Add our beef back into it. Mix that in there. Now from the velveting process, you can see when it's cooked, it kind of gets like a reddish, I don't know if you can tell in there, it's kind of like a reddish hue to it. It is fully cooked, I promise you. Okay, now that that's all fully incorporated, we're going to pour the sauce over top of it, and we're going to let it simmer for 2 minutes. We're going to give it another quick stir. We're just going to pour the sauce right over top. Now you can do a double batch of the sauce if you really like yours like dripping in soy sauce. I like it just to be nice and hinted, you know. It sounds like somebody's up there singing. So we're just gonna let this kind of simmer for 2 minutes before we add the noodles. All right, and we'll be right back. I'm gonna fast forward this part. All right, so we're back. It's definitely super, super yummy smelling. You can see all the liquid in the bottom there. That's gonna coat our noodles. So I just followed the instructions on the package for the noodles. Sorry, I keep moving the camera, but I just wanted to give everybody a close-up. So I just followed the package, and I used 10 ounces. You can use less. Maybe they're stuck in there. They are stuck in there. See if I can get the noodles out. There we go. So I just got a package of lo mein noodles. My package came in a 10-ounce package. It kind of got a little dried out on the top. Well, now the noodles are definitely going to be cut because I just need to separate them a little bit to get them into the sauce, which is fine. I feel like everybody complains on the other channel when they are served large noodles. I'll try to separate them a little bit. There they go. So now the noodles, some of the noodles probably won't be as long, which is totally fine. It's not about how long the noodles are, it's about how they taste. And I really only started this channel, I feel like it's become a cooking channel, but I really only started this because some people kept asking about, you know, how I cook certain foods for the children, and how I do the cloth diapering, or what baby monitor I use, which I do not recommend the Miku to anyone. Not anymore. They charge a monthly service now, service fee now, which I think is outrageous. We do not pay the monthly service fee, but it's we don't get all the perks that you normally should get. It's a very expensive monitor that we bought to watch, make sure that they were breathing in the beginning, but now we definitely can tell just while they're sleeping if they're breathing or not. We're past the stage of infant death syndrome, which is terrifying. All right, so now we're just gonna toss this all together. I'm gonna turn the heat off. And down in this description, I'm also going to put a link of the girls eating this. I will be right back though. I'm going to plate it so you can watch me plate and how little that there actually is going into their little dishes. Give it one more little toss and give you a nice close-up. So that is our finished product. You can see there's broccoli in there, the mushrooms in there, the noodles, the peppers. It smells so yummy. And we'll be right back. Okay, so now we're gonna plate. I'm just going to, I think think I already threw the spoon. Yeah, the girls are definitely awake. Got a few noodles on there. Try to get some peppers and onions and definitely some beef. I think I'm gonna get a spoon. A few more pieces of broccoli in there. Some peppers. I think Dada had to go upstairs and get their dinosaur. Make sure there's mushroom in there. Or is she sure she took it upstairs? Did she leave it downstairs maybe? Did you leave him downstairs? So we have a thing with dinosaurs lately. They love their dinosaurs. So there you have it. Let me make sure I get a mushroom or two. Just to make sure that they've got everything in there. There's definitely sprouts in there, plenty of noodles, some onions. There you have it. That is the children's plates with their lo mein, their beef lo mein. And in the description, don't forget to check it out. There'll be a video of them trying it. We'll see you soon. Bye.